Well, good evening again, folks, and welcome back to part two with the original Island Girl, aka Lady J. Good evening, Lady J, and welcome back to Kitchen Table Talk at Lolo's.
Man, you got to be in the kitchen. I'm getting hungry.
All right, I am too. Well, listen, we're gonna make every effort to wrap this one up within approximately 30 minutes because a lot of people has been dropping hints and asking a few questions. But three of them I have set up, and there's one that I really wanted to ask you, and I'm hoping that folks would stay to the very end of this video, which should last right around 30 minutes. Because at one question I got for Lady J, I'm
Oh,
gonna drop that one question on Lady J. I don't know if she's expecting this question. She may be expecting this question, but there's one question that you guys would really want to know down in the Bahamas, down in Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, all over the Caribbean, Puerto Rico,
you making
all
my
over the
food.
Caribbean. I
You
want you
waiting on the
guys
food.
to stay tuned and listen for this question because this question is very important to all of you, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Thomas, St. Lucia, all of you. But however, I'll have the first question for Lady J tonight. And that first question is pertaining to education and school. And the reason why I want to ask this question is because I know in the Bahamas we have been brought up on the British system. We have BJCs and GCEs and Lord knows whatever else come after that because I didn't go through all that stuff. I did college here in the United States. We have associates, masters, and doctorate here in the United States. I want to ask Jay to tell me the difference because all three of your children were born here. You were schooled in the Bahamas, and you have recollections and memory of your other families actually going through the school system.
Hmm.
What's the educations in the schools, Bahamas versus the United States, from your point of view?
You really want me to get into that?
I really
I am
want you to get into that.
happy to be here. This is definitely a joy to sit down with Doc today. But getting to that question, uh, when it comes to school, I do believe the Bahamas or the I should say the European system, because not only in the Bahamas but in the other countries, some of them you mentioned, the educational system is far much better and it's way ahead of the American system.
Okay.
We look, we see most of those countries when it comes to education is above the standard of the American system. Uh, in the Bahamas, I know we go to school. I love having to wear uniform. It gives the kids some sort of discipline and something they have to do. They don't have to worry about having to dress up or being teased because they don't have the clothes they need to wear. The
Okay.
So it gives them a sense of discipline. Uh, the educational system there. I mean, here I believe they dumb down the students. No Child Left Behind Act, where even you age out of the system rather than learn and move forward as you learn. You kind of age out of the system. Another thing that they do here that is so bad for the students and it causes them to feel okay is that everybody gets a participation trophy. Nobody
Mm,
really for what they want. You don't become a winner, you become a participant and you get a trophy. And so
okay.
in the education system, that don't teach our children to thrive. It teach them that if you show up, you're gonna get you win. And so that
Mm,
it gives it a negative thing on the American educational system rather than the European system, which is Oxford oriented.
okay. I also wanted to touch on your opinion on. I know that many people say they don't want to teach because of some of the laws. The children have the power in the homes, so to speak, by law.
Mhm.
We, as parents, the parents don't let them get away with it because when they call, if their judgment is being taken more serious by law enforcement over the parents. So the parents will either deal with them correctly and these
Mhm.
things don't come about. However, in the school system, the teachers, their their parenting or teacherhood or adulthood accountability has been watered down because I heard a story firsthand. I drove a gentleman and he told me that the student told his friends to videotape him while he go up and provoke the teacher. And he didn't just provoke the teacher, his third provocative engagement was physically engaging in the teacher. When the teacher pushed him off, the teacher ended up getting fired. My question to you is, how do you see that the children not coming out of school, they're not very smart because the teachers are like, you know what, I'm gonna put you through. This on you. You ain't listen to your parents at home. You ain't listen to us. Is this the reason why you decided to homeschool your children? Because I know you mentioned this in the first video.
Well, I one of the reasons I decided to homeschool my kids was because I didn't want them coming home and telling me, Miss Johnson say this, or Mr. Johnson say that, and Mr. Johnson was always right. Why? Because Mr. Johnson have my kids from 7 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the evening.
Mhm.
From 4 to 7, I have them. I may even be to work. Don't come home till 6. And
Right,
7, 8 o'clock, they have to go to bed. So Mr. Johnson is their parent. And
right.
they're not wrong when they tell me Mr. Johnson is right. Because
Mm,
she is their mother. And so I decided to homeschool my children because I wanted to influence them. I grew up in the church, and I grew up with discipline in the Bahamas, and the village grew up the children. And so with that disciplinary standard in me, I saw here there's such a wide space. You don't even know your neighbor.
mm.
Oh, your roommate and y'all just living in a place to pay rent. You don't know each other really. So I decided, since I'm here and I was by myself, my sister in another state, I decided to homeschool my kids because I wanted to teach them discipline. I wanted to teach them that the world can't tell you what to know if I'm your mother and I'm trying to teach you what I know, because you can really be confused with everybody out there. You don't have that one teacher all your life. You only have that teacher for 1 year.
Got it.
So
Right.
you lose that parent and you get another parent and you get another parent for 12 years.
Mm.
So I decided to do that because it was more consistent for them when it comes to learning. And kids learn better when it's consistency that you show them.
Okay, I like that. Well, let's move on to the next question.
Mm.
The transportation system. I know we have school buses here. I don't ever remember or recalling having school buses in the Bahamas. Not when I was growing up in school. Um, the school buses, transportation, and the evening buses going to market. Now, I know in the Bahamas we have something called the jitney. Could you could you give me your take on, well, having no school buses, we didn't need it because all our schools are in walking distance. We're a small island, a very small population, and it's always warm. We don't have cold and snow. So transportation, as far as public bus transportation, the schools here in America and the public bus transportation system versus in the Caribbean islands. Could you give me your opinion on that?
Well, when it comes to the school bus, well, you know, school bus was our feet. Like you say, we had to walk to school and you could not be late.
Right.
Our system, and not only that, school started for us at 9 a.m. School starts in America here at 7:30, you see. And so they have to get, it's dark when the kids get on the school bus in the morning. They have to go pick up all of these people. Um, we had to get things done before we go to school. And so the jitney became the school bus for the children who lived a little bit further than where they should. I mean, for us. And as far as I know, Doc, you was a jitney driver. So you know In the morning, those kids would have to go all the way to AF Hadley and DW Davis. They had to jump on your bus.
Right.
And so that was a system where public system, which is really, it was it was also a social place where you met
Yes.
people all over the place. But I lived in the city and we did the bus system. You jumped on the bus and you went places. You didn't dare talk to anybody. And
Right.
that was in New York. You couldn't talk to nobody, everybody in their own world.
Yeah.
And it was so aloof, everybody, one in this corner, one in that corner. But the system itself was so, it is you get the bus system in the city, you get the train system in the city, but in the country, you don't get all of that. You may get courtesy, what do they call it? Uh what's it called? Where people will come and pick you up if that somebody would get something like that for you. But otherwise than that, you better have a car.
I got a
Because
question for you. This is a wild question. One is not really prepared. In the Bahamas, with me growing up, I was in Dantown. I went to Chippingham for school, so I was out of my constituency.
mhm,
When I transferred, when my mom moved, and I moved with my mother in the Grove. I was twice as far, but I was still living from being Dantown. But my school system, I moved my school system from Dantown to the Grove. That's 3, 4 constituencies apart. I had to walk through Black Village. I had to go up through St. Barnabas. I had to come on the way up, into the Grove, into the top of the Grove. My question to you is this: what is your take on this penalization by law for someone who's living in one city and their children going into another city and they're not living there? Because I know some kids living in the area where I live in, Clayton County, cannot go to school in Fayetteville, or cannot go to school if their resident is in Clayton County. They cannot be registered in the school in Henry County. What's your take on that?
listen, that is so weird because when I tried to put my kids in school, it was hard for me because I wanted them to go to a private school that was I'm right out a mile outside the city, and I
Hmm.
wanted to go to a private school in town.
Right.
Um, I was unable to get them transferred because what I found out is if you want to transfer them, you would have to pay monthly to the Board of Education in order to do that. Now,
Okay.
then I decided to send them to another um, school, but guess what? I am literally on the same road, across the street from that jurisdiction,
Oh,
as in
wow.
walking across the street. And
Yes.
they would not allow me to let my kids go to that school.
Borderline residential consistency.
And so I think that is so weird because if you advocate for your child to go to a certain school, if you want them to go, they will allow you if you agree to pay. And this is supposed to be a free school system, but you would have to pay the county or pay the school system, the Board of Education, in order for your child to go to a different school.
Now, in
Otherwise,
some
somebody you know.
now in some cases, you'd actually have to uproot residence and move there, or you would have to change your child's residence and let them move with a sister, a brother, or with somebody else. But they would have to actually live in that place. And if they catch you doing it, you can still go to court and be penalized.
What you would have to do, actually, and I found this out recently because I tried to take Shelly and put her, my daughter, and put
Mhm.
her in the school. You would actually have to give their brother or sister or their auntie legal guardianship.
Aha.
You can't do it like that anymore. They can't just live there. They have to have legal guardianship and actually be on that tax return for that person the year before.
Okay. Okay. That's the answer we were looking for. My next question, I like that. And my next question, do you believe you are better off here than if you had stayed home in the Bahamas?
That is uh, that is a to me. I can say yes and no. One,
Okay.
when it comes emotionally, it didn't do any good for me because I cried for the first 2 years.
Okay.
I was sick for the first year. and I cried for the first 2 years.
Mhm.
Given that I was used to getting up in the morning and going to the beach. That's what I did from I was 4 years old. Going to the
Yes.
beach every day on Monday. Um, that's what I knew. I did my exercises. It to me, I don't turn on my heater until it gets below 40 degrees. So
Mm.
none of it ever bothered me. We'd go swimming in the freezing cold water in the morning. In the winter, winter didn't stop us. You
Right.
see, we did that, and because of our traveling, our body was used to cold and hot, cold, and so for me, the part, the what was better for me was if you are someone who has a mind to succeed, a
Mhm.
mind to build and to move forward and become something greater. When it
Yes.
comes to the economical system, it
Mhm.
would be a better thing for you to move, whether it's here, America, whether it's Canada or the UK. The point is, it's a bigger economical system for you to thrive. If you're
Correct.
somebody who likes to push and go beyond, that's
Mhm.
the that's what you have to do. Because as far as I know, I hadn't been home for a while, but as far as I know, the economical system back home is 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 tapped out. And there are so many older people who are staying in the same position and it's stagnant. So it's not just tapped out, it's stagnant. And so people are not moving, people are not dying as quick as we younger people would like them to. I mean, even though it may sound kind of harsh, but we cannot move forward unless they die because that's the whole point.
But wouldn't you say the economy also has? But wouldn't you say the economy also has something to do with that? Because the way the economy is, here in some of the leading grocery stores and other places, folks who have retired are out to work as greeters. They're out to work driving um, ride share. They have to work to
Yeah.
keep the bills going. So I understand what you're saying, and at the same time, I believe we need to add the economy in there and the way of life and inflation.
Yeah. So the thing is,
Lead me to my next question.
oh, go on then.
Lead me to my next question. If you could do life all over again, what
Mm.
would you do differently in the in this aspect of moving, relocating you and your family from the Bahamas here to the United States? What would you do differently if you were able to do it all over again?
When you started that question about what would I do all over again, I was about to tell you I can't be no sexier. So I don't know. I'd probably come a little bit more silver in my mouth. But listen, when it comes to me, you mean changing countries and moving on, moving
Yes,
forward?
yes, relocating and all that stuff for your family, possibly for better, better
Yeah.
lifestyle. And like you said, the economic system is
Yeah.
greater and probably opportunities are more. What would
Well,
you do differently?
I did not get married until I was 27.
Mhm.
And I got married after I moved to America, 2 weeks after I moved to America with my Bahamian husband, with my
Mhm.
Bahamian fiance. The thing is, I would have, if I had known I was going to move, I would have saved more money and prepared more. It
Mhm.
was such a the moment thing that had to be done right then. But the preparation, I do believe it is best. In any change, preparation has to be set forward first. We
Mhm.
cannot move the foundation. In order for us to walk, we have to have our feet steadfast. You know, we're moving, but we're steady.
Right.
Um, so one of the things I would say, if you're gonna make a change, and it's time to make the time to make the change, when you say it's time to make a change, that time is to start preparing. Don't just change your atmosphere. The time then is to start preparing. Once you think it in your mind, start preparing. Don't jump and do it unless you have somewhere to land. Because my family was here, so I had somewhere to go. My church was here. I had spiritual support, and so I had most of my papers. So I had some sort of support that I could move forward. You see? So
Right.
instead of me being stuck, I just want to come. you need your paperwork. You need finances, because sometimes, even though your family here, everybody in their family don't get along too long. Once what they say, come, you want to know me, come live with me,
Come with me, yeah. Yeah.
brother or
You want to
sister,
know me? Come stay with me.
you come live with me and you'll find out some things. And so I had to realize that, and guess what? That means I had to go on my own.
Okay.
And with that, then I really begin to understand some of the things that I owe, and then things begin to change. And then when I got pregnant, I was 27 when I got married. I didn't have my first child till I was 31.
Mm-hmm.
And I was glad that happened, because when children come into the mix, things cannot be no fly by night stuff. You have to be in a regimented situation.
Wow. Great stuff. Great stuff. Well,
Mhm.
that last question.
Mm.
The last question. I want to thank everybody for staying with us um, to nearing the end of this video, and I hope you enjoying the information that's being set forth to you. We want you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we want you, whatever you do, share this video on your social platforms and tag those persons that these questions, the answers to these questions would help them to realize a better life. Question
Yeah.
number 5, our last question. What's your advice to those wanting to relocate in 2024, especially from the Caribbean islands to the United States, especially from the Caribbean islands to the United States? What's your advice to those wanting to relocate in 2024?
Okay. Um, there are so many things that I can say. Um, if you're gonna relocate anywhere, whether it's from East Street to Robinson Road, it's from one estate to another. If it's from
Mhm.
one island to the other, if
Mhm.
it's from country to another,
Mhm.
the things that we need to fundamental things is make sure that your finances is right. Make sure you know where you're going. You have to know the people. If you don't know the people, I'm talking about the propensity of the people, the way they carry on, the way, whether they're friendly people, whether it's a rough neighborhood, maybe it's a ghetto, maybe it's a countryside, maybe it's the urban area, suburbs, or it may be the city. Know where you're going. Take a trip if you can. Take a trip there if you're going to get an apartment, if you're going to get a house, if you're going to share with somebody. Make sure you go and you spy out the land,
Mhm.
like both of them did. Joshua them did. They went and spy out the land, because you can't just jump up and say, "I'm going to move right here." It looks like a good place. A lot of
Mhm.
people move are saying, "Oh, that's so beautiful, it's good," and then they get there and they have to live among the regular people. They're nice people, but being in the with the regular people is different from what you see on TV. So you need to go and get your finances together, because it may be more expensive there than where you are. Then you have to make sure you know how the bills run. And what I'm saying is, plan, figure out where you're going, set a plan to deal with where you are going, and then surplus that plan. So double up on the plan that you make, so that if there's anything happens, you may lose that job, the little job you think you may have had. Make sure your papers are in order. You understand? Because you may come there saying, "I'm gonna get a job under the table." That ain't happening too much in 24. You understand? Because everybody, the tax people, the IRS is like this on everybody paper. So make sure that everything you do is turned upward. Make sure anybody look at it, they could say, "You doing it right." Why? Nowadays, they got red tape. They got everybody looking at everything. So make sure once you make a plan and you think that plan is set, make another plan. make sure you have plan one, plan A, B, C, D, and E. So that any one of them fail, you still got plan F.
Got you.
Because it's hard. It's hard. And when you're away from family and nobody to catch you, you got to have a plan.
Amen. Well, folks, you hear it here on Kitchen Table Talk at Lolo's. I want to thank the original Island Girl, Lady J, uh, for being on the show again. And I only hope and pray that the information shared here in this segment um, help you, help a family member or a friend who was thinking about relocating, especially here to the United States. We appreciate you. We thank you. Lady J, you want to give a shout out to any family member of business down in the Bahamas right quickly before we end this meeting?
Yes, I have a lot of friends, some of them from primary school.
Quick shout out. Name, right? Serial number.
She's the best roofer I know. Kenneth Fountain, Ricardo, Hamilton, all of them guys, Aaron Bailey, Peace, C.I. Parish Primary, Washington Street.
Who's your favorite junk in the group?
Boy, what them people name? You know how long I've been a jungle? Saxons.
Willa Francis. Francis. Yeah, my uncle used to rush with him. And when the time when I was home, I would rush with him also. I had the opportunity, the privilege to play the trumpet in the Gumbe groups, which I don't think they have Gumbe anymore. They now have the Junior Junkanoo. Well, folks, we are grateful that you tune in. Thank you. Again, like, subscribe, share, tune in. We drop videos every Tuesdays, every Thursdays, and every Saturdays. And if you are interested in being on this show, if you have something to say, this platform was created for the average person to have a voice and to share their voice, their opinion with the rest of the world. Text the word conversation to 470-382-9632. That's 470-382-9632. And with that being said, we're going to say thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy. Thank you, Lady J, for being on the show.
Thank you, and been a pleasure.
Thank you.